You know those alerts you get on your phone when it beeps, there's some kind of a flash flood or an evacuation, those emergency alerts? Well, now you can get those on your satellite communicator, whether it's an inReach or a Zoleo. There's a company called Adiana Alerts that is offering that. It seems like it's something that should have been there already, but it isn't. I think it's an important safety feature. I'm not affiliated with the company, but I was an early tester and I know about it. And let me share with you because it's dead simple how it works. So the Adiana Alert servers, which are enterprise level, scalable, cloud-based, all the good stuff, they are checking hundreds of different sources of emergency alerts. And this is right now in the United States and Canada, but there might be new countries in the future. If you think you want this in your country, leave a comment in the comments. They might be checking it, but they're checking these different alert APIs, and they've worked out arrangements with these sources so that's not just like some kids in a garage doing a project. They have got agreements. They're checking these alert sources for things like severe weather, marine events, wildfires, flash flooding, and they plot that on an internal map so they know the boundaries of all of those alerts. On the other end, they're checking your inReach or Zoleo's device location from the location sharing, and they've got an agreement worked out with Garmin so they don't get flagged for spam or anything, but they're checking that data as well. And if your inReach or Zoleo goes into one of those areas where there's an alert, you get a message sent to your satellite communicator that tells you what alert is happening in that area. Now, once you get it, you can respond with a D, which will give you a detailed breakdown of what's happening, or you can respond with an I that will give you instructions for, how to deal with it. And of course, if you have a satellite communicator, you have an SOS button, so you can hit that SOS button and get some guidance from the Emergency Response Center as to, how to deal with this potentially life-threatening situation or a wildfire or whatever it might be. But it gets you, it lets you do that proactively or know about that situation proactively instead of just waiting for it to happen and getting into trouble. One thing I should mention, when you get these alerts, there's two sort of flavors for the weather alerts. There is a watch, which means it might happen. So there might be like a severe weather watch for, it might be happening later in the day, like thunderstorms. And then there's a warning, which means something is imminent and you should probably deal with it. So those are the two kind of flavors, at least here in the States, for the National Weather Service. Now, I mentioned I was in the early access program. I spoke with the owner or the founder of the company, and he worked for years and years in public safety, organizational government, I believe, and he's an outdoors person. He was outdoors looking for these types of alerts, and he was surprised that he couldn't find it. He spoke with other people in the outdoors. He spoke with somebody I remember who was in a flash flood zone. There was a warning, and just a good Samaritan had come out there to warn people that there was going to be a flash flood, and otherwise those people would have got into a lot of trouble. So he started this company. He's been building it. They've been testing it for a year, and I communicated, emailed with some people who have used it. There was somebody who was camping on the beach in Northern California, and there was a high surf and a flood warning, and they were able to evacuate. Another person with a flash flood warning. So it's actually helping people now. Very cool. I live here in sunny Southern California. Sometimes we have natural disasters, but I haven't had any lately while I've had the service, but I have gotten alerts for high surf and marine warnings that are close to me. So it does work. I'll test it or I'll use it, moving forward. So if anything else pops up, I will share that with you. But if you have your device and you just want to test it, you just want to see what it's like, they also have a cool service that they just added towards the end here. So if you go into the control panel, and I'll show you how to set up your device in a second or two, but if you go into the control panel, you see there's a thing for locations. So there's devices, which I mentioned earlier, or locations. And locations are static locations that you can put an alert for. So if you go to location, you can enter all the information you want, but let's go ahead to the National Weather Service. Let's find a severe weather event that's happening now. Okay, so let's go to Google Maps. We're going to get the latitude and longitude for it. All right, I've got that. And then we're going to go back to the location. I'm going to put this information in for the static location, including the latitude and longitude. All right, it's in, and then I'm going to activate it. When you activate it, it's going to give you a code, and you're going to text that code back to them, and that's how you're going to register your device. So you can do this on a cell phone, which I did, and that's a great way to sort of test it out if you don't want to chew messages off of your satellite communicator. And you can also do it from your satellite communicator, and you can test out, responding D or responding I, and that'll give you a flavor of what to expect if you're out in the field and you have your inReach or your Zoleo and you go into one of these areas and, would get an alert like this. Now, there is a cost for this, as you'd expect, but because I was an early access tester, Audion Alerts is giving my viewers a discount. This is not a paid video, just so you know, but they're giving you guys a discount if you want to sign up for it. I'll put all the details underneath the video so you can check it out and sign up there. But I'm going to be using it. I think it's worth the money in terms of a safety feature on here. Let me show you how to set it up. Now, the first thing you have to do to set it up is enable location sharing on your inReach or Zoleo. Now, location points, those are the geotagged points that get sent up to the satellite and to your map share page or your location share plus page. Those are the ones if you're sharing your location with your friends or family. Now, when you set that up, there's a URL that you can get. You just need to grab that URL and plug it into Audion Alerts. Audion Alerts has help articles that give you the specifics of how to go through these steps. But if you have the lowest inReach plan, you don't get unlimited location sharing points. So you might want to just bump your plan up to the middle tier where you can just send these things as many times as you want. And I always recommend, if you do have location sharing on, to go to your device. A lot of devices will let you just automatically turn live tracking on or location sharing on when you turn your device on. And that's a great way if you're out hiking. If something catastrophic were to happen to you, like you have a stroke or you fall off a cliff or whatever, then they could, whoever you shared your map share page with could follow that breadcrumb trail and find you. And if you had it on you, it would give you the location as well. If you're reporting every 10 minutes or whatever it might be, you can get a pretty accurate location of where you might be. So it's a safe feature anyway, but you grab that, then you go into Audion Alerts. You can sign in with your Google account, you set up your account, and then you put your device information in, including that link. You'll get a code sent to your device, and you just respond to that to kind of sync those two things, and then you're all set. And you can turn the service on or off. And for the static locations I mentioned earlier, you can put multiple ones in there, and it's pretty straightforward. Overall, this is a pretty simple thing to set up and use. So that's Audion Alerts. I think it's very exciting. It's something like I said, I wish Garmin did this a while ago as part of your subscription. I'm not sure why they didn't, but I can guess why they didn't. But now somebody's doing it, so it's great. Any questions, leave them in the comments. The folks from Audion Alerts might be looking in the comments as well to answer any of your questions. And again, if you want this and it's not available in your country, just leave your country in the comments too, so they know where there's a demand or something. Anyway, guys, hope this is helpful. Stay safe, and I'll see you out on the trails.